Hi everyone, my name is Renee, and today I'm presenting the event Tall Tales. So for Tall Tales is an event that is unprepared speaking. Essentially, you're given three words that you don't know about beforehand, and you are supposed to take 1 minute to prep an original tall tale, so something that you create that incorporates all three words somewhere within it. The speech is supposed to last between 1 to 3 minutes, and in general, the speech that you're telling is a story with a lot of exaggerated elements, fiction, and fantasy, and is told as if it were true, but you're using a lot of humor, jokes, exaggeration, and details along the way to make it kind of come to life. You would give three words on a slip of paper, and you would just create a story using those three words from there. And example words are typically raccoon, stars, tissue, things like that that are pretty commonplace that you can take and incorporate into your story. The goal in general for the story is to have a plot arc and use lots of exaggeration and humor. So you want to make the audience laugh ideally, and you want to be expressive as possible in your delivery. So show your passion for your topic, show that you think that your jokes are funny and laugh slightly along with them, smile, and it's okay to be silly in this case. And so feel free to do that. Use movements to mime everything out if you would like to do that. And it's hard to focus on a main character. So definitely give them like a name and like a problem and why they want to like solve that problem. So just like how you typically look at novels and short stories and like see how the main characters are there and how they solve their problems, you want to do a similar thing in this case for your tall tale story. And then you just let your imagination go. Think about crazy stuff that was happening and make it very unexpected while keeping it still appropriate. For the organization, typically you want to start with introducing the setting, right? So that means the location and the time. So what time of day? Where exactly is it? Is it in a fantasy world? What time of day is it? And just kind of explain that along the way in the beginning, especially. Talk about your characters, right? So introduce your characters, how old they are, maybe what they look like, and then the challenge. What is the problem and why is it important to be solved? Then have a few points of rising action leading up to the fun, chaotic climax, right? When the problem is being confronted. So you want to kind of build up that tension along the way. There should be like a few distinct points in time where you're especially giving that kind of tension and the characters go through some really hard things to build up to that ultimate climax. And you want to end with a resolution. And so, like, what's going to happen after the problem is solved? So, in the Jack and Beanstalk, right, the climax might be Jack has finally met the giant and they're battling it out, right? They're running away. And then the resolution might be the giant's defeated. Jack has finally been able to return peacefully to his home. You want to sound like you're having fun and that you're excited to tell the tale to your friends. So think about it like you're trying to tell a story about yourself to the judge, but instead you're making the story about the main character instead. For prep time, because you only have 1 minute, you want to make sure you use it as best as possible. So priorities in this moment, in this order, are firstly to think about the main plot points. So think about what the setting is, right? What are the few events you want to include to have that kind of build up to that ultimate tension point when the problem is being solved, and how do you want it to end? Then you want to incorporate uh, words into it. And so think about how you want to use your words into the story and how it would make sense. Then you want to make sure that you incorporate a moral at the end. So, what is the lesson? Why should the audience, or what should the audience take away from what you just told? So, is it that friendship is important, that we should use our time more wisely, or what is exactly is the lesson? Tips in general. So, creativity. Think wild. What is an unexpected thing? If you have something unexpected, that's the easiest way to create humor. And humor is a good way to keep your audience engaged. And so that is a very good tip. And then next thing is detailed description. So if you're talking about space, right? Or you're talking about a ladder, describe what the ladder is like, right? So you can talk about how there's 100 steps into the distance, or it's made of wood. The wood might have some engravings on it that has some pictures, and just describe that. And if you're really struggling on time, then you can explain that to drag on the time a bit more so that it reaches maybe 3 minutes. Use words in a relatively creative way. And so the audience ideally should not be able to tell which words were exactly your words, right? So if my word was raccoon, maybe I don't make a raccoon my main character, but I say, okay, my main character, they were walking around, right? And they saw a raccoon and like walking by, and treat it as like more of a description rather than the main plot points of your story, if that makes any sense. Incorporate a moral, definitely. Why should people pay attention? And definitely express the characters distinctly. So what is their voice like? Do they have an accent? Is there a particular posture that is their signature move? So whenever you speak like the character, then you're moving into that particular posture. And that is something that you can do to make your performance pop out even more. These are just tips that you can do to get there, but you don't necessarily need to start out immediately with these tips. It takes some practice for Tall Tales to get like flow into it. So don't worry if you can't do this immediately. These are some drills. I'm not going to read them out, but if you want to pause here and just like kind of take a look at them, feel free to do this. And so that you can kind of practice it and it'll help with your Tall Tale skills. And these are also some links for example speeches. If you have any questions, feel free to message the coaches. And we are definitely willing to help. Hope this helps.